link.
Let's get started.
J.C. Sherbert. Woo! 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 Woo!
Here in Columbia, well, it's been buzzing loudly all weekend.
Passion of the crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is second to none.
And the rave breaks out in Columbia.
It is good!
Gamecock fans, welcome home.
See how it goes, but we'll be ready to go.
It's time to root.
Let's go, Carolina!
It's gone! Touchdown! What a hit! He baked it in! Can you believe it? Gamecocks have won this game!
Here are your hosts, J.C. Sherbert.
Oh, watch him celebrate now!
Phil Molinex.
My wife doesn't like hanging around losers.
And Jamie Bradford.
I'm going to tell him, you look like you joined Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, so far, so good on a beautiful Friday here in the Palmetto State. Greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard Inside the Gamecocks, the show, live from the Signorama Studios and presented by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Signorama is the preferred sign partner of the Gamecocks as 20 to 30,000, maybe more of you make your way to Williams-Brice Stadium tomorrow. You'll see their work, and you have seen it before. That is why South Carolina uses Signarama. That is why we use Signarama. You should too. Signarama, the preferred sign partner of the Gamecocks, but they do it all throughout the state of South Carolina. And remember, 803-407-9284 in West Columbia. Gamecock owned and operated. That's who you want to call. Matt Vaughn. He can do it wherever you are, in the Midlands, in the upstate, along the coast. That group right there, Signarama in Columbia, is who you want to go to. JC is actually going to have to take the day off today. He's had some things come up that he has to take care of. I know some of you are really looking forward to hearing from him when it comes to the commitment of Josiah Thompson. Have no fear. We have plenty of information. We have spoken to him this morning. He's passed along a bunch of stuff for us to pass along to you, in addition to some other nuggets that we've been able to kind of dig up over the last few weeks, as this is something that was expected, but now it's official that Carolina's Great Wall, as they're calling it, Phil, is beginning to stand taller and wider quickly. So we're going to talk about that throughout the program. We do have Michael Flint later on. We also have Chris Phillips from the Spurs Up show later on in the first hour. And coming up here in just a few minutes, we've got Stuart Lake, and he will help preview the South Carolina Vanderbilt series. And Phil, it's a big series. I do have information to pass along. And the information is that South Carolina will be facing a Vanderbilt squad that is missing two of their three weekend starters, both Carter Holton and Hunter Owen. I got word this morning at about 8 o'clock. They are out for the series against Carolina. Of course, the Gamecocks are also missing Noah Hall, but tonight Will Sanders will toe the bump and go against Bryce Cunningham, who got his first SEC start last weekend against Missouri. And we will give you a little bit more information on him coming up. But I'll tell you, going into the game, it is good news for the Gamecocks. How does it pan out? We'll find out. But it is good news. Of course, Vanderbilt is a hot-hitting club, maybe the best in the league right now in league play. So that is all going to come up in our conversation with Coach Lake here in just a few minutes. And Phil will make sure that we fill our conversations this afternoon with our comments from our friends in the Nana Sports chat box as well. Good morning, my man. And so far, this Friday is bringing good stuff to Gamecock country.
Yeah, good news happening all over the place on all fronts here. Active, baseball. Even Dawn Staley finished filling out her staff, where we lost a coach with the guy from Duke. What's his name? Grant. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
I forget his name.
Yeah, I mean, some days it's feast and some days it's famine. So everybody belly up to the table and let's pour us a cold Dowell Loggins here, because we got a big old wall getting built down there.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It has been expected news for a while, and I'm sure some of you have seen Hale McGranahan's column that is up on thebigspur.com. I don't think Hale needs either one of us to say this, but it is spot on. This is again something that has been coming for a while. So we are very excited to we are very, very, very excited for what is happening right now. And I'll pass this little nugget along from a source in the building who, let's just say, has been around forever. And I mean forever. His comment was, I've never seen South Carolina recruit at the level at which they're recruiting right now. So take that for what it's worth. You still got to get to the finish line, as we always know. But, Phil, it's when this thing turned around years ago under Spurrier, it started here in the trenches on both sides. And
Yep.
Carolina right now is doing major damage.
Yep. In the trenches, in the state. I mean, we're following the pattern completely. And along the way, I think ahead of schedule, pulling in, big top name kids out of the DMV, grabbing the select ones out of Florida and Georgia that we think are, going to pan out. you just got to figure. I mean, these guys are making incredible evaluations along, top to bottom, and just trust the process. But man, it is impressive what Beamer and company are putting together. I mean, I figured when his name was called, right, I'm like, all right, we got to say hell of a recruiter. I didn't expect this, JB. I didn't quickly.
It's not done. This weekend could be another magical weekend for South Carolina, and we all know what the summer is going to bring as well. So yeah, man, it is really, really a special time right now for Gamecock football, and they have some other holes to fill in the immediate future, as we all well know. But there appears to be some pretty hopeful folks in that building that some of those different areas are going to be filled here sooner than later. And let's remember this second transfer portal of the year period, or whatever you want to call it, is about to open. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled over the next couple of weeks, and South Carolina probably going to have more news on that front that will help get things really shaped up for the 2023 season. All right, we do need to step aside for a break because when we return, we're going to bring in Coach Lake a little bit early today. He's actually going to be by phone. He is traveling for work. Remember, he does work for the Gamecocks, so he does have things that he has to do from time to time. We missed him last week. It is a huge opportunity beginning tonight and extending its way through Sunday for South Carolina to go on the road and not only get another road series win, but a road series win over a top 5 ball club with or without some of their top arms. At the end of the day, winning is what matters. He'll tell us how they can do it when we return right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston. Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The real estate market has changed dramatically from just a year ago. Rates, supply, demand, all of your traditional factors are in a transition phase. That's why if you or someone you know are considering making a move in the low country, contact me, JB, at Coast to Coast Realty. I work with an outstanding support cast of attorneys, lenders, inspectors, insurance agents, and more, all of whom are valuable in helping find a way for you to comfortably make your real estate decision. That's right. Call me, JB, your low country real estate broadcaster.
Traveling to cheer on the Gamecocks? Reserve your hotel stay with Fan Plans. Your booking supports Inside the Gamecocks and the Big Spur, plus you still earn your hotel loyalty points. Visit fanplans.com/Inside the Gamecocks.
What's up, Gamecock Nation? This is Jakar Moore from the DMV, and you are listening to the show.
Welcome you to Founders Park. It's time for baseball, folks.
Oh, there's a blast off the bat of Petrie. Goodbye.
That ball read the right and deep and gone. Swinging a drive. Left field, way back and gone. The ball into the air the opposite way. Has he done it twice? Yes, he has.
There's a blast off the bat of Wimmer. Morgan looks up, and this one is long gone. There's a high drive.
That ball is tagged. That ball is way
grand slam home run for Ethan Petrie. What else can this young man do, Derek? My goodness, that ball.
I texted Derek Scott last week after game one, and I said, Derek, you know I love you, but Tommy Moody's call of Petrie's second home run was brilliant. It was his best ever, and I've listened to it 1,000 times since then because you didn't know it was Tommy. He was so excited when that ball left the yard, and it didn't just leave the yard. It left the city of Columbia, as many of them have, it seems. But so I thought we were going to have you just by phone, but you've been kind enough to pop on with the video stuff. What's up, man?
Well, I wasn't smart enough to just be on phone. I just jumped. You guys get what you get, and hopefully can keep it going.
So I had a rotating thing of various Louis C.K. photos I was going to put up, Coach, and pictures of hats and.
Feel free to putting those up. That's become my guy now. I follow him.
Right.
Well, I know you're working, so we won't do what we try to act like we don't do from time to time, which is keep you as long as we can. So we will. I know. Oh, sorry, we accidentally kept you a little too long. Meanwhile, we're like, yeah, let's see how long we can stretch him today.
Yeah, that's right, man. Stories are good.
Yeah, well, you're better than all of us combined, but.
No.
Well, Coach, so yeah, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. This is a huge opportunity for Carolina once again on the road, where, by the way, they have won both series this year, headed to Georgia and heading to Mississippi State and now heading to Nashville. And I've never been to Missouri. I have been to this ballpark. It is the one that I least enjoy. But that's where they are. Anybody, if you're going up there and you're sitting in the stands, there's no foul territory. So if it's a foul ball, it's more than likely going to land in the seats somewhere. The news, though, Coach, this morning that's kind of floating around, and it hasn't really been confirmed by Vanderbilt, but it's all but confirmed, is that two of their weekend guys, Carter Holton and Hunter Owen, whom we already had kind of known about. I think ESPN's Kylie McDaniel had mentioned this yesterday. But both are expected out. And so that means that tonight it's going to be Bryce Cunningham getting his second start of the year for Vanderbilt in SEC play. Overall, his numbers aren't terrible, a 3.2 earned run average, but in the league, 11 and a third. He's walked 9, and his ERA is 7.36. So, there's a big opportunity. If you can get a solid start from Will Sanders tonight, maybe he's kind of in that early form, which I'm going to let you kind of expand on what you saw out of him last week against Skeens. If you can get some good stuff out of Will, like the Will Sanders we know that he's capable of being, you can maybe get off to a pretty darn good start up there in Nashville.
Yeah, let's go back real quick. That's actually the first call I had heard of Tommy's doing that. I was listening to you during the break. That was a tremendous call, and I'm going to text him after this to let him know. But because I was on TV, so normally I'm listening to radio a lot. Didn't get to hear that, so that was pretty cool. Skeens last week, wow, and watched him again last night. I mean, last night they really stretched him out. I think 106 pitches against Kentucky. So, I mean, that was an elite arm, as you can see. But you just get a great opportunity this weekend. I thought Will Sanders pitched well last week. I mean, matched up. Realized when the game was halted, it was 3-0, and South Carolina had the 3. So, I mean, to match up that well against Skeens, I thought was a big deal for Will. But this weekend, I was talking to someone this week in our office. This weekend and next weekend are national seeding type weekends. If you can come out of these, maybe even just 3-3, much less 4-2, you have to then start really considering yourself one of those top 8 national teams as you enter this is the 5th week, so you only got 5 weeks left. So, this is a huge weekend for Gamecock baseball up in Nashville.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Coach. I think if you go up there this weekend and you pull it off, you're right. Now you start to okay, all right. Let's pay attention to what this thing could look like at the end of the year. As it pertains to Will, my view of it was his changeup is what got him going. What was your view from the booth last week, and it kind of sucked, as we didn't get to see him and Skeens keep kind of going at it the rest of the game. But what we saw out of 4 innings, give us the Stuart Lake diagnosis of what was working for Will.
Well, the changeup is his key. Right now, Will just doesn't throw that breaking ball enough in the strike zone to make you feel you have to swing at it. So when he's just a fastball curveball guy, they get really good swings off on the fastball. But when this changeup is either in the zone for a strike or his changeup has the old split finger action to it. When it's really on, it's unhittable. It's diving into the bottom of the zone. So last week, the changeup was on. And honestly, I told y'all a few weeks ago, I think it's going to be on more because the changeup is really a good warm weather pitch because you have to have that feel for the ball. You got to feel good in your grip. And a few of his starts when it was a little bit colder, when it's colder, you tend to grip the changeup too hard and too tight, which then just makes it really a slower fastball instead of a real changeup like he wants to throw. So I'm expecting him tonight. Again, I've been saying it, I think, all season. I expect him tonight to even be better than last week, which was really good, and set the tone because with Noah Hall out, what Noah Hall did so great for this team is he just 8 innings in the middle of series. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted to keep moving into Friday night. That's all I kept hearing. And I kept thinking, and actually I joked with Coach Tanner one day, don't move that guy because he allows you to use your bullpen on Friday night because you're not going to have to use it much on Saturday, and then you could use it again on Sunday. So it's going to be a different scenario now because they're going to have to use more bullpen guys. Obviously, with Noah out, I don't think a third starter has been named yet. I think it'll be a case, does Hicks pitch tonight or Eli Jones pitch tonight? Maybe one of those two would be the Sunday starter if they don't have to. But I think that's going to be the big thing is how this pitching staff reacts without Noah Hall. If they get, and they should play 3 games because weather's not an issue this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with you. I would imagine at this point in time, it's Eli or James on Sunday, depending on what happens. With that said, what happens is this is interesting because Vanderbilt is hitting, I think they're the best league hitting team. They're at 334 coming into this game in league play. Carolina has hit 26 home runs in league play. Vandy's hit 25. Yeah. So I haven't watched them a ton, Coach. I've seen glimpses here and there of some of their games and just kind of scattering around on the SEC network and stuff like that. But how much do you know about their offensive approach and how that matches up with, I guess, starting with Sanders tonight and then moving into Jack tomorrow?
Yeah, I was looking through it. I don't have it in front of me. I wanted to have it. It's amazing the batting averages in the SEC this year. I mean, I think the lowest team batting average is like 291 or something. So it's incredible offensive numbers right now all through the SEC. But what Vanderbilt's going to do tonight that we really haven't seen a team do is they still run. So tonight's going to be a challenge with Will where, sometimes he's 1-4, 1-4-5 to the plate. That's putting a lot of stress on Cole or whoever's catching. You're then saying, well, you got to be about a 1-9 to a 2-0 throw, and Vanderbilt's going to run. If I was looking at it right, I think they lead the league in stolen bases. So you're going to see a different offense tonight. LSU last week, I was amazed. I was doing TV, so I try to never, maybe say something on TV that I wouldn't want somebody to say when I'm coaching. Their leads were unbelievably bad. I mean, they were like 18 inches off the base. And I later said to Coach Parker, were you expecting that? And he goes, well, I knew they didn't run. I just thought they may put pressure on you with balls in the dirt, maybe do some hit and run type stuff. But when you start seeing that, I was shocked. And if that's just who they are, they're LSU still hit the home run and we'll move first to third when we have to. But Vanderbilt's going to be totally different. And you're playing at Vanderbilt. That turf plays totally different. So it's a big thing. And as you said, there's 0 foul territory.
No.
So as a hitter, you can get away with a lot of foul balls there as a hitter. As a pitcher, it frustrates you because you get the foul ball and you can't even make a play on it because it's so small of a territory. Which, how about this? Last week in Mahoney's start, 14 foul balls were hit. I mean, it was just as we were tracking it in the booth, it was one of those games that his pitch count was running up, and that'll be something I watch on Saturday. He just couldn't get that put-away pitch against LSU last Saturday, which run his pitch count up, and that's why we were in the bullpen in the 5th inning.
I was going to say, you were going to put some pressure on the catchers with the way they run too, but this is a disciplined hitting team, Coach. Like, they do not strike out a lot either. So we've got everything kind of in front of us here, like you said, in the next 2 weeks. But it's going to be good to see how this team rises up and deals with kind of almost a mirror of what they're doing to other opposing pitchers too. Because they're having great plate appearances, a lot of discipline, taking their walks and HBPs when they get them. But I think this is an awesome matchup. I'm excited for this weekend.
I am too, and it's also, you just feel like Coach Corbin's a guy that already had Plan B. Even though his pitchers have gone down, I don't know, maybe it's the respect I have for him and the success. You just always feel like he's got Plan B and C ready for you when you go over there. So it is. I think it should be the marquee matchup of the weekend. I don't know nationally who's better. I would think this is number really 4 and 6 in certain polls, different ones. This is by far the best top 10 matchup I remember in a while.
Yeah, I think obviously you got Kentucky down at LSU, and LSU put them back in their place last night, 16-6, the final there. The other series that I'll personally be really paying attention to this weekend actually is not in the SEC. It's a guy that we know pretty well, Dan McDonnell in Louisville. They got second-rate Wake coming to town this weekend. But, I want you to – so – it's been a while since I've played the game, Coach, but the turf fields have never been something that I was ever interested in. They play a lot different. Vanderbilt's, as Derek pointed out yesterday, and maybe next time you talk to Tim, ask him what's the point of this. I guess maybe for home field advantage, but the turf mound is a joke. I can't comprehend why anybody would want to do that and have that out there, but. Can you explain to the audience when you play on a turf, like a grass turf like Carolina does, which is probably the best one in the country, and then you go up to Vanderbilt and then you have to go play on that, what the differences are?
Yeah, I'll try my best. The big thing, obviously, with turf, you're all getting the same surface every game. On a grass, dirt surface, it's so important to how that ground crew, how short is the grass, how long is the grass, how much water did you put on the dirt? How hard is the dirt? So you got different variables that can change game to game. The one thing, now the infielders love when you go to Vanderbilt. I promise you, those guys enjoy getting those ground balls because you just get true hops. You don't have one that may hit a lip of a grass. You may not have that random little rock that somehow got in somebody's cleat and made it onto the infield. So the infielders love it. Here's where I hated it as a hitting guy. Watch tonight how much deeper the infielders can play. And if y'all remember this at Texas 2 years ago, you can really take away a lot of hits because you can play further back because you just know the speed of the ball. The speed's never going to be different off that turf. And Vanderbilt has a really good turf. It's not an old, fast turf like some people have had. And then the big other thing to me is you can never pick that dirt up and get your grip of your hand. That was always the frustrating part to me. You love as an infielder or pitcher to grab that dirt and get your sweat off your hand, or you don't have that. So you're constantly wiping your pants. You're trying to get a different grip on the ball, and then the balls feel different off that turf when they hit because they get a slicker feel to them. So it's for sure a home field advantage. Again, infielders love it when you get there once they get used to it. But a big reason they did it, as Coach Corbin told me years ago, we just didn't have people to take care of our field at the level South Carolina and Clemson did. So turf made it easy to have a great playing surface, an easy one, and one that could repeat every day.
All right, Coach. Ethan Petrie has been the story. He is honestly pretty much the story nationally now. He's made it into every publication, every award. It's there. It's amazing that this young man has been able to just keep his head down and keep playing ball. He's got a chance this weekend to tie or break Smoke's record of 17 home runs as a freshman By the way, 17 years removed from when Justin did that back in 2006. So we'll see if that happens. Who knows? With that said, though, you mentioned Corbin, who I think's clearly, easily one of the top few baseball coaches in the country, maybe regardless of any level. He is that good. And they're very well aware, and so is everybody else, of Ethan Petrie. At some point in time, he's going to stop seeing a bunch of pitches to hit, including when you get to this group here, Sully in Florida next week. I mean, they're gonna know where to pitch him, and then they're gonna know when not to pitch to him. And in order to prevent some of that, right, is protection. So Cole Messina, Gavin Casas, who's returning to Vanderbilt, transferred here from there. It's kind of those are my guys this weekend. I want to watch closely. And you got that wall out there in left field. I feel like Cole's maybe been flying out a little bit, Coach. I'll let you kind of diagnose that from there. But it is a wall that you can pepper, left-handed or right-handed, and make some things happen with. So kind of walk us through what you've seen out of those guys the last couple of weeks and how important their role is going to be moving forward to keep Petrie hot.
Yeah, it's been big. They moved Dylan Brewer into that 2-hole. Yeah. And that served purpose for a lot of offense. Wimmer and Brewer, to me, may be more important to what Petrie gets to see than even what Casas or Messina's doing, because I said it on air last week. I think it was 1st and 3rd at one point with 2 outs, and I said, do you consider walking Petrie here? And I was serious in a case of how many times are you, like you're saying, going to let this same guy beat you? Mm-hmm. And, Cole's got good numbers. Casas has got good numbers, but I really think this weekend can Wimmer, and if it's still Brewer in the 2-hole, if they're on base, I mean, it's almost hard to not pitch to you some when it's 1st and 2nd or 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be interesting to me I think we'll know after tonight, first 2 at-bats, to see how they pitch Petrie. Because with that left field, like you said, my goodness, he could hit some over that building the way he's been hitting the ball. But that park plays big now from center to right field because of the way everybody remembers the football stadium is directly behind the third base dugout. Yeah. This was the worst place to coach third. You literally stand in their dugout to coach third base. And you hear conversations like nowhere else you go. I mean, not bad. I mean, they're standing 3 feet behind you and you're trying to coach third, and it's really awkward. So it's a place that Coach Corbin has made into a national power. I never would have guessed that 20 years ago when we were going to Vanderbilt. And if you didn't sweep Vanderbilt, you were really upset. And that's really our thing. That we used to love going to Vanderbilt because Coach Tanner had a rule. If we were 2-0 on the road, me and Coach Tallman could pick a restaurant. He'd take us to eat on his money. So Ruth Chris was our choice. So we went to Vanderbilt every year. My first 15 games in my coaching career, I was 15-0 against Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. I then went 17-0 or 2-0 at Ole Miss, and we lost on a Sunday, and I was so mad. And Dan McDonald laughed on me on the way home. He goes, dude, that's a good team. I said, you don't understand. I had never lost to Vanderbilt. I don't think you should lose to Vanderbilt. Well, there was a lefty on the mound that day named David Price for Vanderbilt. Who,
you might have heard
I remember going, wow, who is this kid from Murfreesboro that no one had recruited except Vanderbilt? So, but it has turned into a national power. But I do, and I know we'll all be tuned in tonight. I think we'll see their game plan in that first or second at bat tonight against Petrie.
Remember when they used to strike out the last batter? If they struck out a guy at the end of the inning, the catcher spiked the ball on the ground. You remember that, Coach?
Oh, I remember all of it. Yeah, it used to. Man, there's nowhere worse to not play good than Vanderbilt. They can get under your skin, and then really, I never noticed the whistler. I would always have everybody telling me afterwards on TV, and now that I watch it on TV, I'm like, yeah, that gets annoying. But you don't hear him as much in the stadium as you do watching on TV.
I remember I can't remember what the catcher's name was when Price was there, but I remember he spiked one at the Sarge, and there. Let's put it this way: some of the bashers that were in that Carolina dugout, the the Dishers of the world and some of those guys, they had something to say. It was
oh yeah.
Yeah, Tanner was I'll handle it from here, but yeah, it was those were luckily they don't do that as much anymore.
No.
So you did mention Brewer too. I wanted to touch on him real quick, and Talmadge, and I know you got to go, and then we're gonna let you run here in just a second. But Brewer really is. I mean, from the beginning of the year to now, this might be the best he's hit in his career. Honestly, I mean, I watched him enough at Clemson. He had certainly some nice moments up there, but maybe this has been as hot as he's been for a while. Have you talked to Monty or King or any of those guys? Have you noticed anything in what he's doing up there that's allowed for this success?
Well, I talked to Monty a bunch in regards of he just is a guy that keeps showing up every day. And with the McGillis injury, it kind of opened the door one more time to, hey, here's an opportunity. Let's try to get a left-handed bat in here. But that's really who Dylan Brewer is. I liked him out of high school. I was hoping he'd be in Garnet Black 3 years ago. And then Monty's always said what I thought about him when he coached him is the kid just shows up. He gives you everything he's got. And baseball can be a really mean game when like his season started out, like everybody was hitting but him. But he was having some good at-bats at times. Then he pressured himself and the strikeouts came. And then you kind of forgot about it. But in the process, just like Evan Stone did, he didn't quit showing up. He kept working, kept trying to tinker a little bit with maybe if I do this. I wish he would bunt more. The bunt last week was a sacrifice bunt, but it was a Drew Meyer type bunt for a hit for a left-handed hitter where he really got his shoulders squared, made the third baseman come get the ball, ended up being a hit because of the way they handled it. I think he could really create more in that offense. I'd love to see Dylan bunting more for hits because I just see that speed. And again, when he's on, and I probably say it more on TV than I'll drive people crazy, if you can make the pitcher pay at least 10% to you at first, that means he's 90% to the plate. And when you get guys like Brewer on and Wimmer on, and they have to throw over, like last week, I was shocked how much they threw over LSU did because we really don't run either. But that means that 1%, whatever that ain't going to the plate, can allow that fastball or slider to be in the hitting zone, and that's what's happened. So I think Brewer could be a big key to this weekend.
I do too, and maybe they're starting to solidify it up there. I didn't know that Wimmer would maybe be the answer. I thought he'd like being maybe more a little 2-3 hole somewhere in there, but he's figuring it out up there in the leadoff spot. So if him and Brewer, if they cement it, that could be danger zone, especially while Carolina waits to get Will McGillis back and make that lineup even deeper. Well, Coach, we'll let you run on that note.
Thank you.
As always, thank you so much. I know that you're traveling today and you still made time for us. I got a text during the Thursday night broadcast last week, and somebody said, man, Stuart Lake is a pro up there. So, maybe that will end up being your calling. You'll just be a TV guy. I don't know, but you are really, really good. And I mean that wholeheartedly. It's so much fun to listen to. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I enjoy doing this with y'all, and it allows me to do scouting reports and talk baseball. And believe me, I miss that a lot. So I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, well, have a great weekend, Coach. We'll see you next week.
You. Bye, y'all.
Coach. There you go, Coach Stuart Lake with some great stuff here heading into the weekend. Carolina is looking to win their third straight road series to open the season. We'll see. This is going to be very difficult. I'm telling you, this is people don't see number one next to it like they did with LSU, and so I think some people are like, "Oh, it's going to be a hard series." I don't think you know how hard it's going to be. Really hard. And he hit the nail on the head with Corbin. There's one of the things that makes Coach Corbin great is that he's always got Plan B, but he actually always has Plan C as well. Unfortunately, if you have to get to Plan D sometimes, it doesn't really matter because Plan D probably ain't going to help you a whole lot. But he's always got Plan B and he's always got Plan C. So, we'll see what they've got going. And they're probably going to try to get this kid as many innings as they can. But they're very well prepared to make an early move, and we'll see where it goes from there. But Bryce Cunningham getting the start tonight for Vandy against Will Sanders. So let's go, Will, and let's see what happens. What time do we have, Chris? Is he now? Or?
He's in right now.
Okay.
If we can bring him in and just bump the next break until after he's done, because he can't stay long.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and do that and not keep him around. So Chris Phillips going to pop in now from the Spurs Up show, which you're not in Hilton Head.
I was.
Yeah.
No, I was Monday through Thursday. We left yesterday, so I appreciate you guys being flexible. This week's been kind of crazy. But yeah, I was going to be on the road. We had to get checked out of the Airbnb, and we're traveling around, and I didn't feel like it would have been a good situation, me being in the car. So great to talk to you on a Friday. By the way, Stuart Lake, legend. Great to see Stu on the airwaves. And I was going to say, guys, I'm having a much better day, and I hope you are as well, than Rory McIlroy, who just got docked $3 million for not playing in the RBC Heritage because it is now one of the PGA Tour's designated events. So I think we're all having a better day, and I'd probably argue week than Rory because missed the cut at the Masters, lose $3 million. Not good times. Granted, he's got it, but still.
But
still. Imagine getting penalized $3 million to not go to Hilton Head. That'll never be a problem of mine.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't be any of mine either.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't see that.
That just came out, so I was like, dang. All right.
He'll make that back in that new business venture he's got with Tiger in about 3 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, $3 million.
Yeah. Woo. Not a small hit to the bank account for sure.
Yeah, no, not at all. All right, well, so Phil, he blew up our plan of talking in golf voices the whole time because that was our plan yesterday. We were gonna.
That's right.
Give us your opinion on Thompson's public commitment today. Yeah, okay. Well, all right. Well, I hope you had a good time, and I haven't even checked the leaderboard yet this morning down there. What's the leaderboard look like, Chris, real quick?
I haven't checked it this morning, but I saw that Hovland, I think, shot 7 under yesterday again. So I think he's up there at the top, but I haven't kept up with it today, to be honest with you. So, but we had a great time. It was a blast, man. It was the first time I've ever got to see Harbor Town and walk the golf course on Wednesday, and just beautiful. I mean, just a gorgeous track. So it's always great getting down to Hilton Head.
Yeah, it's actually great to see the leaderboard because there's a bunch of the big names up there. Mm-hmm. Rose and Jimmy Walker at 900 now, and then have a day. Tommy Fleetwood 6 under, and Scotty Scheffler 500 through 13, so he's at 800 with Fleetwood and Aaron Rye. So there you go. All right, so we'll get the back half. We'll get to baseball here with you. We'll kind of break up the baseball talk with football. This is something that has been expected, but it's official. Josiah Thompson publicly now, Chris, to Carolina.
Huge news, man. I mean, you beat out some top programs, Alabama, Clem sucks, Georgia. And I mean, I think Shane Beamer just continues to show his focus and emphasis on building out the line of scrimmage, right? We all focus on the bells and whistles and the windows and the roof and everything that makes the house, but the foundation is what you need. And I think the foundation of a good football team and a good football program is line of scrimmage. I think we'd all agree. He talks all the time, run the football, stop the run. And so getting Josiah Thompson and winning that battle to land him is huge. And they just continue that momentum with the 2024 class. I think I saw they're bumped up to 11th now nationally, if I read that correctly. So, it's one of those things, again, where it's not surprising because when he was hired, I thought Shane Beamer would have success recruiting. I'm not sure I saw it coming this quickly, though. And it's almost becoming ho-hum, like, well, another 4-star. But certainly Josiah Thompson is one of those guys, maybe you're not going to see the impact of all these signees, maybe not next year, but guys, in 2-3 years, the offensive line is going to be a strength for South Carolina football more than it probably ever has been before. And the defensive front, too. They're recruiting well on that side of the ball. So I think he just understands, right? Well, it's great to land the Nicholas Harbors of the world and Lenora Sellers and those playmakers, those position players, those outside guys, if you will. You need those guys in the middle. You build your football team from the inside out. It's obvious Shane Beamer understands that.
Well, that's when it changed under Steve. I mean, it's you could feel the build up, but it was they get a big win, a couple big wins, and then you take anyways. When they got to the SEC title game and then thereafter, that was the difference, was the trenches for Carolina. And I hate to bring this school up on this program, but it's also true for Clemson. Like, they were really good, but then they became elite when they started recruiting the trenches at an elite level, right? And I mean, it's really hard I don't know what the future holds. I mean, they might win 5 games this year. I don't know what's going to happen. But as it stands, just watching what's happened on the recruiting trail the last couple of years and what's coming, it's hard for me to say anything, but they are recruiting the trenches at an elite level right now. I mean, I'm not sure that there's a team in the country that's out recruited them, at least on the offensive line side.
Yeah, and I've talked with JC obviously about it before, and he's even told me, he's like, Chris, South Carolina's never recruited this well in the offensive line. Like throughout their history, they've never recruited this way. And I was just thinking about that 2010 team, and obviously 11 through 13, the run. Maybe Lonnie Teasley can be this team's version of Sean Elliott and what he provided on the offensive line. Because I remember when South Carolina got bullied against Iowa in that Outback Bowl, and I remember Spurrier. I believe that's when he made the move on the offensive front, because he said, we got to get meaner. We got to get nastier. We need some big physical mean. He said, we got too many nice guys blocking, too many nice guys. Yeah. We were too nice, but that's when it changed. I mean, that's truly when it changed. And it obviously helped getting a guy like Marcus Lattimore in that could take off some of the pressure of the offensive line. But, those are some of the best O-lines in school history. And so it's no surprise the success they had. And also the D-lines, of course, with Brad Lawing. And I mean, it goes without saying, Jadeveon Clowney and what those guys did, best defensive front. So it's again, guys, it makes sense that when the Gamecocks had their best units historically up front on both sides, that's when South Carolina football was at its best. So, and that's what you need. And again, I think they're getting closer to that.
Yeah. Well, and ask Connor, everybody hails Connor's the best ever, and they should. He is. But Connor will tell you real quick, I was nothing without those guys. And a guy named Marcus, of course, and another guy named Alshon. Oh, another guy named Tort. I'm just kidding. All right. So generally don't learn a ton in spring games, Chris. I enjoy spring games for the fan side of it.
Yeah.
Really am not going to walk out of there and go, let me tell you something. That number 34, he's going to be a hell of a guy. Is there anything, is there one thing maybe that you're like, well, that's true, but this is something I would just like to see this weekend, or just something you're paying attention to?
Yeah, JB and Phil, and I agree with you. I think it is definitely a night for the fans. I think Shane Beamer is, I've talked about this before. He's a master marketer of his football program. And so I think making like the spring game at night is just a no-brainer move. And I think it's a great thing they do for the fan base, the fireworks show, all the festivities of the weekend, if you will. So it'll be a great night tomorrow night at Williams-Brice Stadium. But actually on the field, you're right, JB. We all warn people, hey, don't draw hard conclusions from the spring game, although we will. It's just in our nature when you see football taking place on the field. You want to talk about it. You want to dissect it. You want to break it down. So, you heard Dowell Loggins yesterday, right? One of my storylines I talked about on the podcast was, what are the new wrinkles like in the offense? And he literally goes in the presser and says, it's going to be vanilla ice cream. It's going to be boring. It's going to be boring. I'm like, all right, well, at least just get it out there, right? So I'm not expecting anything outrageous. I mean, you want to see Spencer Rattler have command of the offense. You want to see Juice Wells making plays. But I feel like the spring game, guys, it's more about the young guys. Like, I'm excited to see Lenora Sellers. I'm excited to see Pup Howard at linebacker. I think DeCabrion Joyner at running back is probably the top storyline going in the spring game, because I think we're going to start to learn, is this an experiment? Is this a real thing going in the season where he really could compete for carries as RB1, even RB2? Just what does it look like, right? What does the wrinkle look like with him carrying the football? I'm excited to see it, see him use his athleticism in different ways. Maybe we see a trick play or two, or maybe they keep that in their back pocket. Who knows? But again, like you mentioned, JB and Phil, it's a great night for the fans. Should be a great night of competition. And again, getting to see a bunch of new faces, the Trey Knoxes, the Joshua Simons, the Nick Gargiulos, some of these newcomers that we've never seen in Garnet and Black. I think that's what it's really about. And I would expect them to shine. And guys, I think that, probably the guy I'm most excited to see is like a Lenora Sellers, because there's so much hype and buzz around him. And maybe he shows glimpses of what he can be in the future. And maybe he can be that QB1. But just exciting anytime the Gamecocks hit the field. And it'll certainly give us something to talk about next week.
Yeah, I just know, like the cynical viewpoint in me is going to be like, the two biggest narratives are going to be like, well, the Dowell Loggins offense doesn't look much different than the Satterfield offense, and Lenora Sellers needs to start day one.
Should be starting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah, but no,
I mean, did you have a successful spring game if you don't have your QB2 or QB3? People saying he should be starting. I mean, come on.
Really, yeah. And you want the optics to be at least better than what Florida put on the field, because my goodness, Napier doesn't know how to run one.
Yikes. I mean, there's a balance between the vanilla ice cream boring and throwing the whole playbook out there. Like, let's find a balance here.
Shouldn't have broadcast this on TV.
I say we just run a Beamer Ball spring game and let Kai Kroger throw passes all night. I think that'd be a blast. Truly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Shane does to put his signature on this thing. Maybe it's just playing it at night. But Spurrier always had the pass with the celebrities and all that stuff. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. The only thing, the one takeaway I will get from it, and I'll be up there, I just want to see him get off the bus because, this might not tell you much, Tarzan Jane thing, but there have been plenty of seasons where you watch them get off the bus and you're like, man, we look like an SEC football team. And then there's seasons where you see them get off the bus and you're like, we're going to get our ass beat. Does this team get off the bus and you're like, man, they sure do look like an SEC football, especially the younger guys, Chris. All right, so let's wrap you up because I know you got to go. Final couple of minutes here on the series beginning tonight. Bryce Cunningham will get the go-ahead again if anybody missed it, at least the news that I got this morning, which I highly doubt that this is bad information considering where it's coming from, is that Vanderbilt will be without two of their weekend starters. Holton and Owen are both done. So they've got an opportunity here, but you got a lot going into this 4-6 matchup. That field sucks. It's turf. There's no foul territory. There's no Chris either.
We just lost him.
He's decided to take a quick timeout.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's
been attacked by what he calls the Muschamp hackers. That's what they call it on this side.
Well,
but what's interesting, JB, you mentioned this. There's not a number one. Look at the SEC East standings. That's all you really need to know about Vanderbilt, because this is a 1 versus 2 on that side of the bracket.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a premier matchup this week.
I apologize. The Vandy hackers. They didn't like you talking about their starting.
Oh, Vandy hackers today.
Yeah, dude, the hackers come from all directions when you're me. No,
so
those are
keys to the series.
Yeah, and I was going to say those are 2 huge losses. And it's interesting, JB. The reason I don't know keys to the weekend for baseball because I feel like they're typically the same every weekend. Pitch well, play great defense, and timely hitting. But certainly it's at a level of emphasis that is at another level when you take on Vanderbilt. A Tim Corbin team, they're going to be well coached. They're going to be fundamentally sound. You look at the numbers, and Vandy, by the way, hitting 290 overall, but they're hitting 334 in SEC play. So, I think that's been my biggest surprise when it comes to Vanderbilt and how they've swung it in conference. But it's so funny, guys, that I don't know why we're surprised watching Vandy, because Tennessee was the darling in the preseason. Florida was all everything. Vandy was picked 3rd. I just don't feel like anybody was talking about the Commodores. And dude, why would you ever sleep on a Tim Corbin coach team? They're really good. Is Hawkins Field the most daunting place you'll play all season? Maybe not, but it'll be a tough environment anytime you got to play them at their place. It's really tough. Who do the Gamecocks go with in Game 3? I think that'll be really interesting. I think we probably all agree it's either going to be Jones, Jerzenbeck, Hicks, or Becker. Probably Eli Jones. I would give him the start after what he did in Starkville. But key to the weekend, guys, I would say one of the keys is limit the running game. They love to run. Enrique Bradfield Jr., one of the most lethal players on the base pass. I think they are 54 of 67, if I recall those numbers correctly, right. Something like that. 54 of 67, 22 of 25 in the SEC, and Bradfield alone is 25 of 29. So that's a guy, if you can limit him, and it's much easier said than done, but he's a guy that, and we know the Gamecocks have struggled a little bit here and there throwing guys out. The emphasis will be on the pitchers, right, to hold base runners, because the last thing you want is singles turning into automatic doubles, and then you really get yourself into trouble. Obviously you need a great start tonight from Will Sanders. I think this will be another great opportunity for him. He looked much better last week, but only went 3 innings. So if you can get a quality 7, maybe even 8 out of him, you put yourself in good position. But, I think executing the fundamentals, guys, I think that's what it comes down to with the little things against a team like Vanderbilt, who is so fundamentally sound, and, keep swinging it the way you are. I think the power is going to be there, but the productivity just has to follow as well. JB, get a guy on second, less than 2 outs, get him over. Get a guy on third, less than 2 outs, drive him in. So, situational hitting, I think, is at a premium in a series like this, and it's going to be a great test, man. 4 versus 6. This is why you come to Carolina. Again, it reminds me of like the early 2010s and the battles that the Gamecocks used to have with the Commodores, and should be a great weekend of baseball.
Cole Messina needs to have a big weekend in my mind. He needs that wall out there, pepper it.
Yeah, he feels like the emotional, like the soul of this team at this point. Like he really, to me, feels like the undisputed leader, the emotional leader. I know there's multiple leaders on the ball club, but he's just the guy that I feel like and he embraces the catcher role well. So I think he's certainly one. How about Gavin Cassis facing his old team? I think that's such a fascinating storyline. And, he's certainly got a chip on his shoulder and wants to go back to Nashville and kind of show all his former teammates and Corbin and everybody else that, hey, look at me. And have a great weekend. I know he's been a little bit cold, but I wouldn't be surprised if he balled out. He's going to be riding that emotional high. So, I mean, it's going to be a blast, man. This is just one of your typical SEC weekends. I think both of these clubs are Omaha caliber, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them go to battle.
They might see each other in Omaha. Who knows?
They might.
As Coach Lake pointed out, this weekend and next weekend, you have some success, 3-3 or better. Now you're starting to talk about that top 8 national seed, and you're trying to figure out the numbers to play your way into it. So. All right, buddy. Have a wonderful weekend, and no shortage of stuff to talk about and watch. That's for sure.
Absolutely. JB, Phil, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you,
man.
Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
You too, man. Appreciate that. 11:56 on this Friday, April the 14th, as we head into spring game. It's almost like we let off the show today. Like, well, Thompson committed, and you got these 2 starters out for Vandy, and you got this 4-6 matchup. Oh, we got a spring game tomorrow.
Yeah, hold on. Wait, there's football tomorrow.
We've been really trying to emphasize a lot of football this week, and it's like we forgot that they're actually going to play it tomorrow with lights and music and smoke and fire and uniforms.
They're going to put a show on for us tomorrow night. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it really is. We do have Michael Flint scheduled for 12:40. He's with his day job, things tend to kind of pop up on him. He should be okay, but let's just hope he's going to be okay to be able to jump in with us, because certainly looking forward to his thoughts on the spring game and whom he's most interested in seeing, and some of his memories from playing in spring games at Carolina as well. We are powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston, Aventon, Velotric, Magnum Bikes in the Low Country, but they come from everywhere across the state of South Carolina, Myrtle Beach and Hilton Head, where Chris just mentioned he was for the RBC, Greenville, Spartanburg, Orangeburg, Rock Thrill, South Carolina, Columbia, you name it. That's why they come here, because Michelle and her business are the best in the whole state at what they do. They have the best bikes, but they have the best service, and they have the best warranties. Now, I will tell you, they don't have the cheapest prices, but that's because they don't sell crap. So you can buy crap, or you can buy good stuff at Electric Bikes of Charleston. They're not like overpriced, but they're priced where they should be. ElectricBikesCharleston.com. The weather's warming up. We've turned the corner, boys and girls. It's time to get out on a ride. Maybe strap yourself a little cooler to the back, do the exercise for 10 or 20 miles, and then cut on that pedal assist and cruise home with a beer in your hand or something. Just don't do it in front of the wall. But if you're going to do that, you want to go to Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. Can't wait to see her when she visits us at the Carolina Rise event on April the 29th at Home Team Barbecue in Mount Pleasant. The 27th is in Columbia. Get your tickets for both on thebigspur.com. All right, hour 1 flew by, Phil.
Yeah, it did.
That
was fun.
Ready to take a little break here.
Yeah.
But as is
just run 2 commercial breaks so I can run outside and get some fresh air. We won't do that to you.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll just
we'll
figure it out. But here's the good news. We are going to come back for a second hour, and we certainly look forward to that. Everybody hang tight. The Sinorama Studios are full of Phil, Fun, and JB. No JC today, unfortunately, with some things to take care of, but he will be back Monday, and we certainly can't wait to see him. I'm sure he'll have plenty of thoughts on football and baseball from the weekend. But nonetheless, hour 2 coming up.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is Pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. The home of Oventon, Velotric, Magnum Bikes, and more, they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. Their electric bikes are equipped with 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle, so you can ride longer, handle the heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available for all ages and sizes. Visit electricbikescharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant if you're in the Low Country. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Welcome to TravelingCountryClub.com, your modern golf club experience. Hey folks, this is Michael Manus, former Gamecock golfer, inviting you to play more golf with a membership to TravelingCountryClub.com. With over 40 courses across the Carolinas, our membership provides you with an affordable way to enjoy a club-like golf experience. From the mountains to the coast, we offer golf courses that will challenge all types of golfers, no matter your handicap level or level of play. Plus, we offer unique membership benefits not seen anywhere else as part of Traveling Country Club. In July, we're excited to bring to you the 3rd annual Plunder on Pawleys 2-day golf tournament, with rounds played at Caledonia and True Blue golf courses in the heart of Pawleys Island. Head to TravelingCountryClub.com to register for that event, and it is not exclusive to TCC members, but to become one, you can sign up and bring to life your golf game. Tee it up with Traveling Country Club, TravelingCountryClub.com, TravelingCountryClub.com, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is Zachary Davis from Carolina Hoops, and you're watching the show with JB, JC, and Phil. Go Cox.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, presented to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give John and his team a call at 803-446-4662 is how to get in touch with them. Set up a no-obligation consultation to talk about how they could potentially turn your backyard into an outdoor retreat for the summer. And of course, since we missed it and we love her, Cindy Searfoss sponsors the first hour of the show, which was great today. If you missed it, catch the interview with Stuart Lake. He's always one of the better guests that we have on. Not that any of ours are bad, though. But Cindy, be able to take care of all your upstate residential real estate needs at 864-414-5271. He's like, top tier of the top tier. I mean, because listen, this is a cream of the crop program.
Not that the rest of you,
second to none with our guest lineup here, especially. I mean, you got Flint coming on later, hopefully, if he gets out of the doctor. No, yeah. I don't know.
Did anybody miss that yesterday? Anybody not here?
Oh my goodness, that was.
If
funny.
not, well, I'll just have him retell it. But
hey, Craig, be safe, man. Did you see this? Is like. Craig just witnessed an accident while he was driving. So, thanks for listening to the show while you're on the road there, Craiger. But be careful.
Yeah, Craig, we're going to make this a lot easier on you soon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we got something coming that'll make it easier.
Your YouTube. Yeah. So, thank you for you were, keep your eyes on the road as you are, but be safe out there. I want to give a shout out to Chavis McDonald. I'm not sure if many of you know who Chavis McDonald is, but did go to South Carolina and was a member of the band. He is the director of retention for the Gamecock Club, and this is if I'm correct on this, and I know he watches our program, but I think that's either it's a fairly new role for him or it's a fairly new role, but they have really been making some significant changes in the last couple of years. I know under Coach Tanner, he kind of went to some guys and said, here's some things we need to do, yada, yada, yada. Well, Chavis is one of the dudes that has been instrumental in a lot of the good stuff going on with the Gamecock Club, and we certainly really appreciate his services and what he is attempting to do for South Carolina. He sent me a message last night, and I do want to read this because it This is great for everybody here. He said, I just want to share that Tristan from a couple of painters came by our home today and painted the nursery for our incoming baby girl. He did a fantastic job, and I first heard of his company through Inside the Gamecocks. Y'all keep up the great work. So first of all, thank you, Chavis, for using a couple of painters. They are the best, and their prices are better than everybody's, as we constantly try to tell people. So all of you follow in line with Chavis McDonald here. Anytime you need something painted, this is who you're going to want to use. But most importantly, he's having a little girl, which is near and dear to my heart. And that little girl is due on September the 6th. Well, Carolina plays football on September the 2nd against that other Carolina team. So if it's early, he might have a hell of a season opener, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But congratulations to his family on the anticipated birth of their little girl here in a few months. Thanks for what you do for the Gamecocks and the Gamecock Club, and certainly appreciate him hiring one of our great partners here, a couple of painters.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. Love to hear it when people support our sponsors, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
And
no
a
doubt
band guy. All right. I like that.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, man. The band, they've got 300 some odd members now, and they keep it moving. So hats off to all of them as well. All right, into the Nana Sports chat box we go. It's taken a while to get here because Coach Lake and Chris back to back, but certainly appreciate all of you jumping in. By the way, anybody that I don't know if anybody saw this was just something we ordered from our pool gets all these in our neighborhood gets all these food trucks all the time. So we went up and got some food last night, brought them home. One daughter wants to dip her fries in ranch, one ketchup, and I wanted honey mustard. So I said, you know what? I'm going to send out a Twitter poll here. Who dips fries in what? And so I'll read those results in a minute. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can make your voice heard, and we'll read it here on the air, because it was pretty funny. There was some other stuff that people were like, "Hey man, I dip mine in malt vinegar." That's not a bad option too. That's what they do up on the boardwalk up there in Delaware. But anyways, in the Nana's Porch chat box, Craig earlier and John Edward Kruger both beat Vandy. Craig says, beat Vandy tonight, hit the Links tomorrow, possibly the Lake on Sunday. Perfect weekend. Appreciate you making us all jealous, Craig, and
right.
Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Hope you don't stub your toe at some point. No, I'm just kidding. Brian says, we'll have the stadium half full, and they'll announce 9 people showed up.
Oh, come on.
No, they won't. John Edward went on to say 100%. Well, I'm not going to repeat that because I'm a big Steve Fink fan, and what he's done for me in the last 10 years of my life has been phenomenal. And I assure all of you, you will be big Steve Fink fans over the next few months on our program if you're not already. Steve is one of the great SID. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about SIDs. They have, lots of them have very difficult jobs. Most of them are. Some of them are not paid enough. Some of them have to handle things they should not have to handle. Some of them have to wake up in the middle of the night and handle things they definitely don't want to handle. And some of them never respond. And some of them encompass all of those wonderful traits. I have never dealt with one that deals with anything better than Steve does. And when you send him a message, you get one back. And sometimes, it might not be the message that you want, but you got one. And that's definitely not always the case. So hats off to him and what he does behind the scenes for South Carolina, because it's a lot that lands on him. Some jokes in here about Mo Hardesty. Mo Hardesty got to step it up and go get a couple of stud running backs to run behind these guys. Well, he's got one. He's coming in.
Yeah.
The Braswell kid is going to be here soon. So, and they are in the market, Phil, for at least 1 or 2 more in the transfer portal. And
I'm sure. I wonder how many people are going to be crying for that. Maybe that's the one narrative that's going to come out of the spring game is we need a running back. We need a running back. I know it's going to be one of them, but we all know, it's going to be something that's addressed because I've already said
it is.
Yeah.
Well, and some of those conversations take a turn for the worse because people just don't think back to the why, right? The why is always important in everything. Why? Well, raise your hand if when Marshawn Lloyd was running his rear end off, if you thought, well, at the end of the year, he's going to go to Southern Cal, because I'm not going to raise my hand for that. Kid had, in the traditional sense of the sport of football and the reasons of why you transfer that we all knew of, and I've checked time and time and time again. Like, was there anything more kind of going on that, just you'll never really know about? Nope. Just left. And so nobody saw that coming, right? So they obviously were blindsided. And shoot, you could even go back further than that. I'm not sure that anybody saw Kevin Harris having the career that he began to have in 2000. I think people probably thought, well, he'll still be here. I mean, you always have to recruit in anticipation that things are going to happen. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, like, a lot has changed rapidly in the last couple of years, but they'll find somebody else. And the good news with a source that I spoke with earlier this week, Phil, was here, I'll quote it. It was, don't be shocked to see Joyner start. He's had an outstanding spring. Yeah. I said, whoa, like that outstanding? He said, yeah, like that outstanding. Summer will be important to him, but that outstanding.
He is a dynamic playmaker with the ball in his hands. I mean, I just think, you don't want to look back too much about usage and things like that, because, he has been the go-to guy that, okay, here's what we need. This guy can fill the position. And he steps up and does it every time. I agree with JC's assessment that he, quarterback is his best position. But there again, from what I've seen, just give this guy the ball, because he can make things happen. Yeah. And it does not surprise me that he is making things happen, even from the running back spot.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see kind of what his style is. Everybody has a little bit of a style. Harris was hit the hole and go. Marshawn could dance a little bit. I mean, you want to go, north to south. But I'm sorry. Yeah, north and south. But so I'll be interested to see what that looks like. I just don't – I'm going to go with – 8 carries this weekend.
I was going to say under 10. I don't know. Yeah. Under 10, though.
Oh, I think, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm 8 carries maybe. I mean, like, you can't leave him hanging.
8 puts it right in that thing where it's like, I feel like they really do want to see what he looks like against live competition. I mean, albeit your own team, in that kind of setting. I think that would kind of solidify for me, wow, we really are looking at this guy as being RB1. Yeah. Like we are not just kicking the tires on this thing. We're taking a test drive.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt, man. I mean, I think he's got a chance to be really, really good. And again, the feedback thus far has certainly backed that up. John Edwards says in the Nana Sports chat box, for some reason, the SEC network chose Tennessee and Arkansas. I'm assuming you're talking about the baseball game tonight. Yeah. So that's all chosen before the season. Okay. Like, this isn't like football where they get a week or two out. They have flex games a little bit later in the year to like May, to allow for when the, to see how the season unfolds, so they can put some of the better games on a Thursday or Friday night. But before the season, much like basketball, these games are already predetermined. So that wasn't like a late ad or something like that. Not that that's a bad series. I mean, if you think about it coming into the year, Tennessee was like preseason number 2 or number 3. Arkansas was preseason number 5 or 6 or something. So, and Tennessee's still 16. So it's a great series to be on TV. The good news is all of these games are on TV. We're all streaming. I'm a YouTube TV guy now, so I'm streaming anyways. Yeah. So all you do is flip out of that and flip into the next app. But
so do you do the NFL Sunday ticket? Are you going to pay that? Did you see the pricing on that? Oh my goodness!
I heard it. What is it? I heard it's up there.
It's like $389 and the $289 and $389 if you want Sunday ticket, as well as the Red Zone channel. They're kind of packaging them separately with YouTube TV. Now, you don't have to be a YouTube TV subscriber, is what I understood, but I just looked at this prices. I'm kind of sticker shock. I mean, I didn't have it anyway because I'm not a direct TV subscriber, but I just remember it was like $99 last year. And I'm like, man,
Nah, man, I ain't doing all that. I don't watch enough of the NFL to do that.
Nah.
So I got little kids, man. I can't just be parked on the couch all Sunday after I was already
all
parked.
weekend.
Yeah, I was already parked on Saturday, either in Williams-Brice or on the road or at home. So
that's the other thing that's good about the XM subscription is I just listen to it on the radio if you want.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't mind. Shoot, I miss it.
Oh man, I'm a radio guy. Like it's
I love it.
If that's the option I get, then I'll take it every time.
I'm with you. I'm cool. I'm totally cool with that. There's no doubt. Mark says Coach Lake is prime time viewing. Information is unmatched. Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. Yep. We are certainly honored. He's a good friend and certainly honored and appreciate him being on here. John Edward goes on to say turf should be banned in college baseball. Hey, look, in a perfect world, I agree with you. It won't be, and it'll only increase because it's so easy to maintain, especially schools. Like, I understand the schools like in the Northeast, Midwest, like Michigan, places like that, why they would do it. I also understand why you would do it from a financial standpoint. That initial investment, you don't have to take care of it. You can play after it's rained for 3 straight days. Yeah. But I'm also a baseball purist, and I've been around Carolina my whole life. And they're literally, I mean this like, this isn't a homer thing. This is serious. There's not a surface in college baseball that's better than South Carolina's. Like, now, Mississippi State, it's right there. You know, Arkansas is right there. LSU does a really good job. It's right there. These big, beautiful ballparks, they make sure that they got the right team out there to take care of everything. But I've never seen a surface better than South Carolina's. Like Donnie and that group I don't think people realize what they do. I mean, they're out there from sun up to sundown every day, all day.
I mean, it's year round. Yeah. I mean, you got to care for these fields.
Yeah. Like, we probably need to get like Donnie or something on one day, or Justin Scurry or one of those guys, just to let them walk us through their work week and then their day games or then game day and like what they do. I mean, if there's a pebble that's if there's a blade of grass that's a 1/4 inch taller than another one, they know about it and they cut it. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible what they do. So hats off to all those guys. Hayne asked, JB, how do you feel about the Vandy all-black pinstripe uniforms? I said it yesterday, Hayne. I'm not sure if you were in yesterday, but I'll just reiterate this. I try to stay away from the big, bold, negative stuff often. Not here. I think they suck. I hate them. I don't like the ballpark. I don't have any personal issues with people in Vanderbilt uniforms because I don't know them, so I can't get personal. But when it comes to uniforms and ballparks, Vanderbilt's at the very, very bottom of the list. Like, all the way at the bottom. That's where they are. Let's see. Quantrell, 389. Holy cow.
Yeah, man. It's like, check it out, Quantrell. It's expensive.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. X Arc Light 12X. Whatever your name is, first time coming in for the live show and not Spotify. Great seeing Phil's lovely face.
Oh, Phil, my.
Phil,
well, flattered.
You've got a secret admirer. That's
We're
wonderful.
Probably related, and I just don't recognize the handle.
Oh. Let's see. Joe says, Joe's coming in hot here. Appreciate you, Joe. Joe Guy. Love that. Football is DK's best position. LOL. Anywhere.
Football. Yeah.
Well done. I agree. And he goes on to say, have a great day, everyone. Joe, we hope you have a wonderful weekend, my friend. Thank you so much for that. Cynical says, I'm a radio guy as well, Phil. And Craig says, I love YouTube TV. Well, there we go. We all love each other. YouTube TV continues to get a little bit more expensive. So I'm kind of wondering where this thing's going to go at some point in time. What's going to, it's coming, right? All the streaming services one day are going to be like $139 a month. And then Comcast could be like, hey, you want to come back to us for $49 a month? And then
here's what it is like it's one big cycle, right? So yeah, you got Comcast and the big cable companies are just going to be like, you know what? We've got this giant package deal for all of your streamers that we've put together for you. Here they are all in one place, and you're like, damn, we did nothing. This did absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
we're back to begging for Spectrum and Comcast.
Exactly.
That's all right. I went back to Spectrum because I was like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being bled dry by this charge, that charge, this charge. And here in the upstate, I will give, I mean, my TV is always good. My internet is blazing fast, and it's cheaper than, paying for every individual subscription that we want. So I'll give them that. I cut the cord and then I plugged it back in.
We pay for a ton of them.
Yeah, I know. And we still pay, but
exactly. Still, I know. If you don't pay attention, you look up and you're like, whoa, what am I doing here? All right. 76 asks, how do you go about getting Braves coverage with YouTube TV? Unfortunately, I don't get to watch the Braves much. Yeah, I don't get to watch them. And Quantrell, are you a purist with football fields as well? Grass only? Yeah, I'm a grass guy. I don't like turf. Some of the turf that they're using is fine, but I don't like it. I'm more okay with it in football than I am with baseball. But I will say this, the worst of the worst is that turf mound in baseball. It's a joke. If you've got kids that play youth baseball and they roll those turf mounds out there and then they remove them to turn it back into a softball field, call your rec department and tell someone they need to be fired. Quit being cheap and build a damn mound, period. Like, these kids get hurt. Like, I don't think they realize this. I don't know why, but it happens. So
and often the cheap ones they use in the rec league ones are like that spongy,
it's junk
playground material.
It's on top, and it's on top of plywood. It's junk,
right.
junk, junk. There's a very wealthy recreation department, as a matter of fact, here in the Low Country, in a place that sounds very pleasant, and they use these all the time. Why? Because they're cheap and poorly run. I have no problem saying that publicly. I'd say to their faces over there. I don't care. That's where I grew up. It's junk. Give them a mound. Like, you got a ton of money. Give them a mound. Don't tell me you don't. Budgets and this, that, and the other. That's bullcrap. Put a mound out there. I mean, it's asinine that people even allow that to happen. All right, Phil, we got to go to break. 12:22. Plenty more to get to in football. We'll talk about Josiah Thompson and his commitment and what is next for South Carolina when we return on Inside the Gamecocks from the Sinorama Studios.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a karaoke partner, I can tell you, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. But what I do have is a very specific set of skills. Hang up now, and your IT nightmares will continue. But stay on the line, and I will find you. And when I find you, I will fix it. Thanks. I think I have the wrong number. I'm trying to call Matt at Heritage Digital. He has a one-price, low-cost turnkey solution for all my IT needs, and I'm sick and tired of my IT guy. So, yeah, 843-699-1001. This is 1002. Oh, well, thanks anyway. Don't be taken by some IT dude that talks a big game. Give Matt at Heritage Digital a call, 843-699-1001.
Gamecock Nation, JB here, and I'm here to tell you about my new favorite painting company, A Couple of Painters. These guys are the best. Gamecock fans and excellent painters, and by far the best and easiest quote I've received. They're licensed in both South Carolina and Georgia. They offer 10% off for military, repeat customers, or if you heard it on the show, commercial and residential painting, deck, fence, and cabin staining, cabinet and furniture refinishing. They'll even remove popcorn ceilings and wallpaper, and they offer pressure washing. Find them on Facebook or call 803-522-6832. A Couple of Painters, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Golfers and wannabe golfers, former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor is now a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina. In-person golf lessons are held at the Country Club of Lexington. Half-hour, on course 9 or 18 holes. And if you're outside of South Carolina, Meredith conducts virtual lessons. Just send in your golf swing for analysis. Gift cards are available for in-person 1-hour lessons. Connect on Twitter at Mayor Taylor and find her online at McKellarEnterprises.org. Her email is on the website. Schedule your next lesson today with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer.
You're tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Sideline and picked off. Brad Edwards will get a convoy. Touchdown, South Carolina.
Spurs. You ain't just a bird. You're top of the coop, star of the show. You're a rooster who was born a pro. Well, I bet you wonder when you went and lost a step or two. Fell down the pecking order.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, brought to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. 803-446-4662 is how to get in touch with John Barber and his team to talk about how they can get some more sunshine into your life this summer. And I hate that Joe had to leave because he actually had an interesting thought that I've been kicking around as well and just haven't really had time to research it. But premium top quality running backs, like the big bodied guys, 5'11", 200-pound plus guy. Are there fewer of those than there used to be?
No,
and if there are, do you think the league is kind of driving that by not placing such a premium on those guys and calling them, treating them as if they are a dime a dozen?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you've got a ton of guys out there that fit that bill from a size standpoint. But like the position just isn't what it was, right? I mean, I'm talking you and I and pretty much everybody else out there that at least entertains our program every day, grew up in like the running back era. So, I mean, you think about all the greats in the NFL, and then you think about all the greats that we got to see play college football, but the game has changed to such a speed game. And so, you have like the days of watching George and Herschel are over. Like you're just not going to see that anymore. I mean, maybe it comes back at some point in time down the road, like you mentioned a while ago. Everything's cyclical, right? But like, let's just talk about the SEC just to keep the focus kind of narrow for the sake of the conversation. In what was at one point in time historically the most running back tradition league out there. I mean, the Big Ten, obviously, but like in recent memory, you can name running back after running back. The SEC was, until Spurrier came along, and even after Steve, was really like one of the last groups to evolve with football. Of course, I don't know. Now that I say that, I guess the Big Ten still hasn't evolved in some ways, but
they're just a little slow.
Can you just a little slow? Yeah, I know. We're gonna hire somebody who's really in athletics to run this league, and then they hire this guy who was like a TV executive. You're like, okay, so you're after revenue. I got it. All right. But like, can you remember, maybe you can, maybe somebody out there, Craig has a good memory. I know maybe he can come up with one in recent memory where you had a game in the SEC where two running backs went for over 30 carries.
Oh gosh.
When's the last time that happened?
Two of them. See, that's the thing. Yeah.
I'm talking one on each.
Yeah, one on each team went for that many. I couldn't tell you. I mean,
how many times a year? This would be something for somebody that has more time than I have, like the StatCast guy, or maybe pass this along to Josh Pate, which we need to get him in at some point in time anyways. Like, how many overall, there's 14 teams in the league. How many times for the last 10 years overall have there been 30 carries in a game by a running back? I'm talking about
it's interesting because you think about but you think about like Georgia is always somebody in my mind, as a running, team. It run first traditionally, and then but they always had two. But here recently, or four, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like there was always a 1A, a 1B, a 2A, and then a situational guy. But it's interesting. Yes, I was just sitting there thinking about that. It was like, why don't you see these premier players like 24/7 top 2024? There isn't a 5-star running back available. Now, granted, this is just one class of kids, and it's finite sample size, but it's interesting. Like some of them have the build you're looking for. And of course they're going to, Ohio State, Georgia, some of these top kids. Florida State's got one, loose commits up at the top for Texas, Michigan, Washington. Well, he's from Seattle, so that doesn't. But it's interesting that I don't know. It was something that, Joe brought up, and something I'd been thinking about too. It was like, I think that power running back, and you probably have to qualify it as power, JB, is not as available as they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've got to have one, because you have to make sure that, like, I'm a big believer in, and I would imagine most people are as well. If it's first and goal and you're inside the 5-yard line and you want to call yourselves an elite program, or let's just start with a good program, you should be able to run the ball in the end zone in 4 downs. I mean, you should be able to get 5 yards in 4 carries. And I'm not saying you just have to butt and gut it right up the middle here, but like, you should have a guy who can get you in there. That pure strength, like, I'm stopped, but I can get that last 6 inches. Like, that doesn't sound like much, but it is. So I think that everybody still has to have it, but overall the game has changed so much. Like, all right, so put it this way. In the 90s, you think Juju McDowell would have been a running back?
No, see, that's the interesting thing is that, these guys are not. They would not have been. It's a different time in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's going to probably get 10+ carries a game this year for Carolina, because it's just a different style. So how about this? Go back to when Coach Spurrier first got to Carolina, a guy that I had clashed with. We were actually pretty good buddies, and he was one of the funnier dudes that I ever knew. Bobby Wallace. Anybody remembers the name Bobby Wallace? Well, first time I met Bobby, I was walking into class with a buddy, Drew Martin, who baseball. Drew's a big guy now. The only reason I even mention his name is because Drew's 6'4", and I'm 5'9". And we walk in, and there's a group of football and baseball guys that are all sitting together. And I knew who Bobby was because, Michael Flint, but I never met the guy. And he comes and sits right next to me, and I'm like, I think that's him, but damn, this guy's little. It can't be Bobby Wallace. And he wasn't 5'7". He was listed at 5'8". He was not 5'7". And, but he's a guy who, him and Juju are very comparable. Same speed, same size for the most part. And Bobby got very few carries, because even then, like, this has been 18 years ago, right? Or somewhere in there, 17 years ago. Even then, Phil, like, you might have a guy in the running back room, because in high school you can be a 5'7" running back, but those guys weren't. The game was going to kill them. It being 5'7", 170 pounds. But you're seeing a lot of that now because it's just evolved so much. So I think you still have a lot of those guys out there that are there, but I'm just not sure. Like, I think that a lot of teams, I mean, obviously somebody's signing these guys. They're all going somewhere. Oh, yeah. But, like, you also can sign a Kevin Harris, who the only people that wanted him were military schools. Guys start running back in the NFL now. He's 5'10", I think 185 pounds in high school, 190 maybe. So
he was right. It was a little under 6 feet. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, it's just not like it was. But that is I've never thought about it though, because I that's something I don't really want to take the time to do it. But somebody that gets paid to be like a true reporter, that would be a fascinating stat. Maybe over the last 10 years, collectively in each league, now, all teams involved, every player, how many times in 2022 were there guys that had 20+ carries in a game, 30+ carries in a game, even 40+ carries in a game, and then compare those with years past, the last 10 years, and just watch those numbers go straight down the tubes.
Plummet. Yeah.
All right, 12:35. We do need to hit a timeout because we have 2 left, right, Phil? So we need to do that? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. We do need to cram one in right quick.
Okay, so let's do that. We are teed up by TravelingCountryClub.com, the coolest club in the Carolinas, and they also tee up this week's RBC Heritage Leaderboard from Hilton Head, South Carolina, where the purse is, if you have not heard, $20 million. Last year, Jordan Spieth won it. This year, Jimmy Walker is leading it. He's 5 under through 14 today. He is at 11 under for the tournament, but close and nipping at his heels is Justin Rose and Scotty Scheffler, 6 under today through 16, just 2 shots back of Walker. Teed up by TravelingCountryClub.com, over 40 courses to play in North and South Carolina combined. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the Village at Creekside, all of her listings. In my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan, and many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Coach O here, and when I'm not eating average jambalaya or celebrating endless summer in Destin, I like to eat pimento cheese straight out the bucket. And the only pimento cheese I like to eat is from Nana's Porch. It's award-winning, it'll melt in your mouth, it's good on a cracker, it's good in a bowl, it's good on a piece of bread. Also, don't forget Nana's Porch has a hell of a food truck. It's award-winning as well, and they're here for all of your catering needs. So get online, nanasporch.com. It's good. Coach O signing off. Endless summer, go Tiger.
The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia, and go Gamecocks.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
You know what, Phil? Let's ask Stone Blanton.
Hey, JC and Phil, if you want a solution to your IT problems, give Heritage Digital a call. Our boy Matt Odom has a low-cost, one-price solution that will get you running right. Call 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com and ask for Matt. He will hook you up today and tell them Stone sent you.
This is freshman All-American Nicky Memorial of the Carolina Gamecocks, and you are listening to The Show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, presented to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Get in touch with them, 803-446. You know, God.
Careful.
I screw one up every day. It's part of my charm.
In the words of Clark Griswold, it's all part of the experience, honey.
It's all part of the experience. That's right. 803-446-4662 is how to get in touch with John Barber and his team. You can send him an email to johnb@expresssunrooms.com. And they'd love to hear from you. And it would really make me feel better to just to know that I've successfully done some of my job here today. And
totally, yeah.
That's right. You know, hey, Meredith. Yeah. Oh, I see your reply now. I did. I got you that $10,000. I sent it right to your email.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He emailed.
And congrats on call. That was a great call, by the way.
Well, I mean, you know, you don't pick against Meredith.
No.
She's pretty sharp when it comes to the golf stuff. If anybody hadn't figured that out yet, which if anybody wants to figure out their golf game, and then go join TravelingCountryClub.com, maybe you should hit up Meredith and she can get you right by virtue of video. So
that's right. You don't even have to be together. Just go to McKellarEnterprises.org is how to get in touch.
Yeah. But I'd highly suggest doing it in person too, because she's pretty sharp.
I bet it's probably a little easier that way.
Just a little. Yeah.
Still
waiting to hear, by the way, from Michael as to whether he can get off that call that he kind of got looped into or not. So hopefully we can get him in here in just a little bit. If not, then we'll just force him into duty next week and
that's right.
let him
you never
read
know
that.
It's okay.
Yeah, we'll let him recap. But the news of the day of today for football, and I think that Josiah will be in Columbia tomorrow, is that Josiah Thompson is committed now publicly to South Carolina. However, it's almost been a month that he's actually been committed to the Gamecocks. This was, I believe, back on March 18th when he did inform the staff that he would be coming, if my memory serves me correct. So we have kind of all been waiting to hear this, and there it is. Halen McGranahan also has a good column up about it, and so if you haven't read that, that'll give you a little bit more insight as to how we got here, basically. But JC's mentioned this multiple times, Phil. This has been a long time coming, and part of the quote unquote Great Wall of Carolina.
Yeah, this big kid, 6'6", 280.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He's enormous.
Just what you want. Offensive tackle out of Dillon. I mean, let's go.
Dillon's been very kind to South Carolina over the years, so we'll just hopefully those guys keep recruiting it well up there, and no doubt that they will with Shane and State. I just saw this. I happened to just click on the Big Spur message boards, and this I don't know who any of these people are obviously ever, but this was sent on the message boards that Coach Mangus's father, George, has unfortunately passed away. This appears to be a pretty trustworthy post, because the poster says, "My father-in-law is close with George, and he just texted me George was a good man." So thoughts and prayers to G.A. Mangus and his entire family on the loss of his father. Coach Mangus is now back in coaching. I think he's at Heathwood.
Oh,
I think in Columbia. I've gotten to know Coach Mangus a little bit over the years, and he is a really, really solid guy. And he cares a lot about the Gamecocks. For anybody that's still wondering whether he's still a fan, he is. Yes, he is. But he loves football too, and he's just a really good person. So our condolences go out to G.A. Mangus and his family on the loss of his father, based on the news that we're hearing. Yeah, absolutely hate that. There should be, by the way, I think it should be later on today. I know that there's been some stuff out throughout the week, but there should be a updated, pretty much official list of everybody that will be at the game tomorrow. So if you are, for anybody that's going to the spring game tomorrow, let me remind you of a couple of things. Number one, Carolina baseball plays at 2. So take your TV if you can. Certainly turn on your radio and listen to Derek and Tommy call it on 107.5 The Game. But the game will be over before Carolina plays their spring game tomorrow night. Remember, Michael Haney, Patrick Davis, now Lauren Davis, although she still goes by Lauren Jenkins publicly, Blake Weinbach from the Camden area, and Jesse Eisler. They'll all be playing in Gamecock Park beginning, I think, around 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. And Haney should be on a little after 4, and then Patrick will follow up. So if you're parking in Gamecock Park or anywhere in that area, make sure that you check those guys out. The Letterman's Association has a tailgate out there as well. I'll be kind of making my way over there with my little girls and my wife tomorrow to see some of our buddies. So if you happen to see the Letterman's Association, you'll see guys like Connor Shaw and Pat DeMarco and so on and so forth kind of moseying around. So make sure you say hello to them. There is the fireworks show tomorrow night after the game. I think that will also correlate, my understanding is, with a light show. Anybody that's been in Williams-Brice Stadium since they upgraded the lights said it's going to be really something to see. More than likely, the game will have a running clock in the second half and should end around 9 o'clock. So they're not going to extend this thing late into the night or anything like that. So a couple of the details, and also a reminder, this has been floating around for anybody that may have missed it. Beginning tonight, I-77 southbound, that is coming down I-77 to I-26. Like you would go west to Spartanburg, you'd go east to Charleston, that's closed. So make sure that if you got to get out of there after the game tomorrow night, if you go I-77, you ain't getting to Charleston or you ain't getting to Spartanburg. You have to turn around or you're going to have to go the back roads and eventually come back out on 26. So plan that all accordingly. As well. Thank you, Hope. There you go. Hope chimes in right on time. So make sure you plan accordingly for all of that. So a couple of the little nuggets to pass along for tomorrow's spring game. The weather is going to be perfect, 80 and sunny. I mean, sweet baby Jesus. You can't ask for better than that.
Good way to kick off outdoor weather, right? For the nice
absolutely. Absolutely. And then again, look out for a lot of those recruits. And Nick Harbor, I know, is one who will be there. So we will be watching all these guys walk into the ballpark. Should be a special day in Columbia. And hopefully Carolina baseball kicks all of that off tonight with a big win over Vanderbilt. And we will talk more about that on the other side of this final break on Inside the Gamecocks, the show from the Signorama Studios. Year and the days of being back in the pool and boat are quickly approaching. Many of us don't have the time to hit the gym, but Charleston Fitness Equipment can change that for you. Outfit your home with a treadmill, elliptical, or my favorite, a home rower that allows you to row with the pros all over the world. They have free weights, home gyms, flooring, and much more that makes keeping or getting in shape much more convenient. Located in Mount Pleasant, visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com for more. Get in shape like our Gamecocks. Charleston Fitness Equipment, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Daddy, I want you to take me to Disney World.
Calm down. JC is here. As y'all know, folks, the family and I have visited Disney World many times, but it can be overwhelming, especially if it's your first time going to the most magical place on earth. I highly recommend wherethisroadleads.com and my friend Cherie, a certified Disney vacation planner. That's right, the mouse has given her permission to book your family vacation hassle-free. You don't know where to go, don't know where to stay, don't know where to eat, don't know what to do. It can be overwhelming. So get on wherethisroadleads.com and schedule your free consultation right now. She can help you out. The prices are very reasonable. You don't pay any extra fees. In fact, she's much more reasonable maybe than booking it straight through Disney. So for your next Disney vacation, or, more likely your first, so you don't panic, go to wherethisroadleads.com and talk to Cherie, certified Disney vacation planner, a partner of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is Braylon Wimmer, South Carolina Gamecock Baseball, and you are listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Go Cox!
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, presented to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give John and his team a call to talk about how they can bring in some fresh sunshine into your life this summer.
We did get tagged with this on Twitter from Bruin Nation, who's often in the Nana Sports chat box. So we will pass this along, but he sent us a tweet from Ian Guerin, who covers high school sports in South Carolina. He said, not for nothing, Lenore Sellers was on the sidelines for 12 quarters this year after he'd helped South Florence jump out to huge leads. That's the equivalent of 3 full games. Certainly affected his numbers. There's no doubt about that. And a guy that we'll all be watching tomorrow night inside of Williams-Brice Stadium. Who gets more? Joyner gets more carries, or Spencer Rattler gets more snaps?
Ooh, that's a tough call. Because I think they might be pretty close to each other.
I'm with you.
Yeah, they might be right around that 7 or 8 number, right? Yeah.
I'm with you.
So I'm going with Joyner. I'm going with Joyner because I feel like they're not, like I said earlier, they're not just kicking the tires. They're taking this thing for a test drive.
I think we'll see. I actually think that we'll see Spencer for 2 series, and then that'll be it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll see him for 2 series, just to get play calls in from his OC and just little things like that. Like, hey, we can test run a couple of little things here that nobody's gonna be able to see or hear, and let's see how it goes. So
I just feel like that second one's going to be some like really abbreviated series with the long bomb, blow up the socials and
yeah. Oh yeah,
and to put on the SEC network that way it doesn't look like what Florida put out there.
Yeah, to get some douchey wannabe media guy in Western Tennessee.
Yep.
He's got like 17 Twitter followers to tweet something like, Spencer Rattler's putting the SEC on notice. Look at this throw. I always love the on notice tweets.
Oh,
we're on notice because of this guy. Like, shut up. Who's on notice?
I know.
What are you talking about? Yeah, so I think
y'all should be scared up there having to change your offensive coordinator.
Yeah. The SEC's on notice. Rattler's in year 2.
I had somebody telling me that the other day about Tennessee football. They were like, man, I don't know what we're going to do. We got a new offensive coordinator. It's not going to look any. I'm like, let me stop you there, buddy. My daughter could be the OC up there. It would look the exact same.
Mix in some moonshine with that meth, why don't you?
That's right. Yeah. Come on now.
If you don't mind. If you don't, more moonshine, less meth. Come on.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, more moonshine, less meth. That's the key.
You're gonna be fine. I've had authentic Tennessee moonshine, and let's just say I could have cranked my car with that by the time. It was rough. Speaking of Tennessee, that's where the Gamecocks are. They'll get going tonight at 7 Eastern against the 4th-ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. Again, the news: Vandy down 2 starters this weekend. And tonight, Will Sanders will oppose Vanderbilt's Bryce Cunningham. Vanderbilt, by the way, is really weird. So you're going to see a lot of strange numbers in there. Bryce Cunningham is a guy who wears number 97. Devin Futrell, who actually has the best numbers for Vandy, will get to go on Sunday. The lefty with a 1.80 earned run average in SEC games. He wears number 95. He's not a big strikeout guy, more of a crafty type dude, 17 Ks and 25 innings pitched. But Cunningham, if you look up his numbers, while good, are worse in the SEC. Will that translate to tonight? I don't know. We'll find out. But a 7.36 earned run average coming into the game, and his first start of the season in the league was just last weekend against Missouri, where he only made it 4 2/3. He has given up 9 hits, 9 runs, all of them earned. And he's also walked 9 and struck out only 7 in 11 innings pitched. However, opponents are hitting just .225 against him. But in those 11 innings, 3 balls have left the yard. So Carolina hopefully is going to try to do that tonight. Some of those numbers are working out in Carolina's favor. We'll see how that all kind of unfolds. But a good start for Will Sanders. And Coach Lake hit this on the head earlier, Phil, and it was going to be one of my talking points today, but he said it, so I didn't need to say it again, but it's the end of the show, so we'll just slip it in one more time. It's going to be critical. You've lost 7 innings this weekend. 6 you can be sure of, but let's say they've lost 7 innings because Noah Hall is not pitching, and again, my intel says he ain't going to be pitching for a while. So just prepare yourselves to not see Noah Hall for a little while. So you got to fill 7 innings. So do you fill that with the bullpen or do you fill that with starting pitching? Because it's got to be filled somewhere. Well, Will Sanders and Jack Mahoney have been 5-inning guys for the most part. Believe it or not, of the starters, Jack Mahoney, although he's been limited at all of his starts to about 5 innings per, has more innings pitched in the SEC than anybody. And he's actually second on the team in innings pitched this year by just 2/3. behind Noah Hall, 40.1 innings pitched, and in league play, 19.1 innings pitched, which is almost 3 ahead of Noah. But remember, Will Sanders missed a start, or else he'd be leading all those categories. So, Jack's been kind of Mr. Consistent. You know what you're going to get out of him. If you can get 2 extra out of Will tonight and a couple extra out of Jack tomorrow, you've really cut it down. And you've probably saved either James Hicks or Eli Jones to get the ball on Sunday. So, Vanderbilt, one of the things that has not been talked about much today is their bullpen and, how good are they or whatever it is. They really, 2 guys have been their stalwarts out of there, the Libaki kid, or however they pronounce it, and then Bryce Cunningham. But he's going to get the start. Maldonado has been another guy that they've thrown a ton this year, and he's been really good too. 7 in the third. He hadn't given up a run. Those are just, by the way, numbers out of league play. But, Vanderbilt's really, they've ridden their starters in league play a lot. Yeah. So, there's some changes going on. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how it all plays out tonight. But hopefully Will Sanders, against a great hitting Vandy team, can give Gamecocks 6 or 7. And hopefully early on, Carolina can get a few runs on the board and give him a little bit of cushion to allow him to extend his outing, because they're certainly going to need to save some arms with Noah Hall's absence.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, just from what we saw in the midweek, nobody pitched more than 2 innings. I think that was a clear signal that anybody could go Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me even to see Becker. Because he only pitched 2 innings. Yeah. Because he didn't put a full outing in on Tuesday either, and then you can pull, one of the Eli's for Tuesday next week and then kind of right the ship. But do you think we're going to end up with a consistent 3 if we are talking long-term for Noah, just to put some of that, to put some of that rhythm into it? Yeah.
Yep, I do. Yeah, I think that they'll I think if Noah is – if they expect this to be long-term, they will more than likely go ahead and name a 3rd starter, I think. And my money would be that would be on Eli Jones. Just simply because they also have Jerzenbeck and Becker to kind of play with, and you don't have any more 2 midweek weeks. You got next week you just have CSU and before the Florida series, and then guess what? You got a whole week off, and then you just have Winthrop, and then you just have North Florida, and then you just have Charlotte. So I think they would go ahead and get somebody comfortable with being in a Sunday role. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Craig asks, is that Candy Maldonado's son? I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
I mean, there can't be a ton of Maldonados out there in baseball, right? So I don't know. Well, that's something maybe we'll look into. Listen to the broadcast tonight. I'll bet you Tommy Moody's got it.
Oh yeah.
If anybody's got it, it's Tommy. So we'll find out. But
I love that. That was a great call.
I'm telling you, that call. I mean, it made the hair stand up all over my arms and legs. Last weekend, because it didn't even sound like him.
No, yeah,
way out of here.
Oh, it's awesome. Let's hope Mr. Petrie does it again. Just keep swinging him.
Yeah. From the staff standpoint, my key to the weekend is Will Sanders, and from the offensive standpoint, my key to the weekend is Cole Messina.
Yeah, I like that call. I think there's a lot on Cole, offense and defense this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's time to turn the fire up a little bit if you're Cole Messina, and I can assure you of one thing. That wall might look big and left, but it you can pepper it. And so does Gavin Casas. So the front 5 for Carolina tonight's got a big opportunity to really, really make some things happen, and we'll see if they can do it. JC will return on Monday. Really appreciate Stuart Lake and Chris Phillips. Sorry we couldn't get Mike to you. He did text me and say, hey, man, I just can't get off this call. So we'll get him in next week for some post-spring game stuff. Enjoy baseball this weekend. Enjoy recruiting this weekend. Might not be done. And, of course, enjoy that spring game tomorrow night at Williams-Brice Stadium. Saturday, hopefully, will be just a beautiful day for Gamecock athletics. And good luck to the softball team this weekend as well, as they're playing for a regional now with a 27-12 record, 4-8 in the league. Thanks to Phil for his hard work as always. And most importantly, appreciate all of you for tuning in every week. Thousands and thousands and thousands of you. The numbers, you would be shocked to know what they actually are. It's amazing. We really appreciate it. We will return Monday morning at 11 o'clock from the Sinorama Studios, and we look forward to seeing you then right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.